I'm like, this isn't where God wanted me to be. That's why all those doors up there were closing and none never opened, because I feel like as soon as I landed here on St. Croix, I worked at two other pharmacies. It didn't work out either because they didn't see my vision. Like, I wanted like community, and all they were looking at was like the numbers that I was bringing in. So again, that didn't work out, and I feel like that was just God showing me like, hey, you need to be doing this for yourself. But at that time when we are in that space, like, and things aren't working out, like, we don't see that. We see, like, you know, we cry, we think that we're losing, but sometimes we have to look at it like, hey, maybe this isn't where God wants us to be. And that's how I feel, like, all them things didn't work out because that's not where I was supposed to be. And I'm where I'm supposed to be now, doing what I love.
Fantastic. You know, role models are something that are helpful in so many different ways, and that's why I asked that question, because whatever it was that told you this is what, whether it was from play, just like the children with computers back in the day becoming engineers and pilots and all this other stuff, that people can somehow get out of the stereotypes and see that, hey, the more we expose our children to things, the better opportunity for them to say, I think this is for me. Or I'm not sure, but I kind of like that. Something that gives them a path to find out, explore, so forth and so on. Okay? And in that context, the services that you all have talked about here up to this point, and I see
you and Jared, because Jared know everything about everybody. If I ever and Bronco say yes, you can run for office, and then he can be my campaign manager, okay? But you know, it's so important that we build in things that are going to give the opportunity for mentorship, and to that extent, you know, what do you perceive as your impact on the young people or the persons who would have aspirations to going into that particular field, whether locally or eventually a career?
So I'm gonna double back, because as a child, my cousin's dad owned Niski Center. So I remember seeing him, and that's why I always tell people also, like, representation matters. And I feel for me, representation matters. And when I speak to children or I speak to the youths, I tell them, like, I had to fight for, nothing for me came easy. And you just have to work. Like, if you really want something, you have to commit to it, like commit 100% to it. And whenever, I think a lot of times when we hear no, we just kind of think like no is the answer. For me, if you tell me no, I gonna try to figure out how I gonna get
how you
yes.
Gonna get yes.
Yes.
Good.
And I feel like we all need to have that kind of mentality. Like, no is, like, the person telling you no, like, you have to figure out. It's funny because when I talk to my IT guys about the things that are in my head, he's like, that can't be done. And I was like, it's in my head, yes, and I need you to figure it out. And he'd take a while, but he'd come back and figure it out.
Well, I just said this, I try anything once.
Me too.
If it works,
no, almost anything.
if it works, fine. You know, and a lot of times it'll work.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, in my case, like in restringing this cane, I had to do some real thinking because the string came a little thicker than the things that gave me some trouble. But I found a way to get it done. You know, but you know, and that's persistence.
Correct.
You know, I remember years ago there was a pharmacy in Frederick Set Town on the waterfront. Was that
he is a distant family member, but we are not related. And back to the question, because you were asking me about mentors. So I have a lot of people that I mentor. Actually, I'm very proud of all of them, one of them actually graduated from pharmacy school in May. So I'm very excited about that. And like I tell anybody that come to me and ask me for help if they want to, whether it's a business, whether it's pharmacy, like I am a wealth of information and I don't mind helping, but I don't, like you need to need it more than I want it for you, or else it ain't happening.
And you know something, Doug? This young lady one time, she donated some of her time to the Center for Independent Living.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
You never invite me back. I thought I did such a terrible job.
I don't know if you remember.
I remember that, and I remember us going somewhere in a bus.
Tour.
Yes.
Yeah, we did the tour.
Her complaint is
Huh?
noted. I didn't invite
I didn't invite me back, so I thought I had done a terrible job.
No. You did a lovely job. You did a lovely. What do you think you're in my head all the time?
I don't know.
Oh, Jesus. Anyway, no, what happened was that the lady, Miss McFarlane, had passed away.
Ah.
And the person in charge now, to me, I don't think they have.
They haven't gotten around to it yet.
They haven't gotten around to it.
That's it.
And then Tia, Busy, you know, the people that the logistics is just not there.
At this point, them is excuses now. You got the direct request for an invitation.
Hey, listen.
Okay, make it happen. Do like Nicole, make it happen.
No. It was done through Malik and Tia.
You know, Malik and Tia go bend over backwards and do whatever we call them. They gonna make it
Malik
happen.
walking and Tia walking.
Is never underestimate the power of Gerard.
I ain't saying so. I'm just saying the people are busy.
You know that. Anyhow.
I mean, I enjoyed it.
Right, but something I want to swing back to that she said, okay? And this is very important to when you are around children, you watch how they think and how they move. And there's this pressure to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
There's this pressure to succeed, and we have to understand it can be a dangerous thing. It can actually have the opposite effect. The understanding that success usually has a trail where failure was encountered at least once.
And I feel a lot.
And this they need to understand.
I think we all did.
Yes,
At some point.
But they don't. The thing is we have to impress on the children.
Yeah. How
That
to get
this is
back up.
part of the process.
Yeah.
If you fall down, you get up and you go.
Yeah.
You know, and not to have fear of failure, as opposed to seeing it as part of the tool for I'm doing something right, okay, or getting to where I'm doing the most positive, most right thing I can do, because it's unfolding now.
Right. And I tell people that all the time. Like, I didn't start out here. And that's why a lot of times I tell my story of the things that didn't work. And the reason why I started doing that is my therapy. Let's start there. Everybody should go to therapy. But my kids, because they see my success, they had a hard time with that failure thing. So, through therapy and then I was a person that I didn't share like the things that I struggle with or that I cry about. So they just saw this strong mother that made everything happen for them. And they had this fear that even if they fail a class or get a C, like it was the end of the world. And I was like, so it was funny because maybe I went to one of my friends with my older daughter, and one of my friends, we were like talking about college and all of that. And I was like, yeah, my first time in college when I went to Atlanta, I literally failed all my classes, all F. It was cold. I wasn't going to class. I wasn't studying. I wasn't doing anything. And my daughter was like, what? You never tell us that. So I was like, yeah, but don't do it. But like they don't see that part of me failing and starting back over.
Right.
So I started sharing those stories with them to be like, yeah, your mother ain't just the superwoman that I see. Like it took a while to get here, and I've worked to get here.
Well, I have one in undergrad now, and we don't have these conversations. When I say conversation, it's just I try to as much as possible have just a natural conversation as opposed to admonishing or teaching or saying listen to me this because they need to understand. I tell myself, look, I went to school out in Ohio in the middle of nowhere, so to speak, and they had enough distractions there. So I went to visit Washington D.C. and I went to Howard, and I saw all of those scenes on the lawn and everybody, dressed how they dress and everything. I said, thank God we went to school there. I wouldn't have finished.
Well, I went to Atlanta in Freaknik time, so.
No, but I'm just saying, I tell him these things because I want him to, one, get a laugh and understand that there's a real world out here.
Correct.
Again, the world your parents grew up and yours is something so different or anything
Yep.
like that, and then there's the pressures that depression, everybody gets sad. Everybody gets in some way depressed. It doesn't mean that you necessarily need to make an appointment to bring Bronco out of retirement. But to understand that, hey,
Bronco ain't coming out of retirement.
I know that.
He's living his best life.
His best life. I understand that. I understand that, but I cherish him. And that's
Me
why
too.
I have
Me too.
his name in my mouth the way
Me
I
too.
do.
Oh, I don't call him.
some of
I have called him in the past and be like, listen, I know you retired, but I need you to walk me through this.
Oh yes, and his stories along the way. But you have yours, and through this conversation, hopefully, some parents out there or other mentors in the community or whatever might pick something out of it that might help them in the process also, or maybe give them another perspective. Now, in my case, I'm always a parent. I know that, but at the same time too is when you reach 18, 19, 20, they bridle the off. So let's have this conversation as adults, and sometimes, of course, our parents and grandparents' time or whatever, somehow or the other, I when it comes to talking to children, somehow or the other, there's this sanitized talk that you could have, and the world is not sanitized. The world is full of everything, and if you don't prepare them, it's just like when you raise a child and never get to go out any place and everything, and sooner they get their freedom, they gone, boom, and all kind of craziness can happen. So in that sense, these conversations are important. But anyhow, that's why I asked what I asked.
And they listen. You think your kids are not listening, but they are listening and they are watching. Because the other day, my oldest daughter was like, Mom, I want us to have start having monthly meetings so we can get our stuff together. And I was like, what do you mean stuff together? She's like, financial and budgeting and all of that. So we've started doing like a monthly call and we just talk about whatever.
Well, not only that, I don't put some of my bills in his name. So no, seriously, when he come, he pick up the mail. Because otherwise they just take it for granted. Whether it is internet and phone and what, they just take it for granted. And we need to recognize it's not that they're doing something bad or taking advantage of us or anything. We are actually paving the road. And if they're oblivious to these things, and when all of a sudden that support structure is no longer there, we have
they fall apart.
Because we haven't prepared them in that sense. So, the pharmacy for we have limited resources here in terms of the number of pharmacies. We lost one when Kmart closed and so forth and so on. And in that sense, the pharmacy is a very important resource in our community. A friendly face in the pharmacy, a non-stereotyping type of person at the front talking to whoever comes up to the counter and sees a human being, not just the money side, a human being, because I've had an opportunity to go to the pharmacy with Gerard from time to time, and people treated me like I'm him. And I said, no,
in that sense, because we have to educate people more. We have come a long ways from the keep them home. Gerard would tell you that he walking down the street and got to cross the road and people chastising him why he don't stay at home and I send somebody out, whatever. Well, we're all people and we all have a right to enjoy what our community is here to provide for all of us. Now, I gonna out him here in the sense that I should put him on your PR budget or something, okay?
We could use him for some stuff, actually. Actually, we can use him for some stuff. He talking about you.
You talking about me?
I don't talk about you, bro. I don't talk about you.
We actually have a...
I might extol your virtues, but I don't talk about you.
Noted. You're taking that as a yes, you're coming on some of our PR thing. You're going to take some pictures. We're going to do some stuff together for marketing.
Yeah, I could do that.
You remember? He said that.
I remember. Okay. I'm a witness.
So I want to double back where you were talking about the team and seeing people as human. We do a lot of customer service training. We do a lot of leadership training. And a lot of things, like when you first get hired, the first thing I tell you is when people come to the pharmacy, like we don't know what they have gone through. They could have just came from the doctor's office and the doctor tell them they only have 3 months to live. Or they just come out the hospital, been there all day, they irritated, they sick, they tired, they just want a prescription, they just want to leave. However they talk to you, that is not personal because we don't know what's going on with them. And we just have to empathize with them and move the line as fast as possible and to help them with whatever they need. So we had a lady come down in January to teach about leadership and to teach about, she talked a lot about being hijacked, your amygdala being hijacked. So when a person comes to you and they come to you aggressively, and then you're letting them hijack your amygdala, which is a part of your brain. So then you respond to them aggressively and nothing comes out of it. So you have to train your brain that when somebody comes to you that way, like you don't let that happen. And then when you talk to them, and I have learned this very well, because when you talk to them with empathy, then that changes their how they respond to you.
But you know, I've done that because I was an exterminator for like 20 years on this island. And I gotta tell people, every day is not the same. And some people that you go to their house, they might either have a bad day, argument with their spouse, wherever they, and when you go to the door, it's like they're looking to take it out on you. You ain't got nothing to do with it, you know.
Right.
But you feeling their wrath because whatever happened previous to before you come, you know, you getting the residual. You know, I remember I went to this lady's house, and the minute I pulled up, she came out like a dog. So I started, let her talk.
A chihuahua or like a Rottweiler? Like
a Rottweiler, she was behaving terrible, man. I said, okay. So when she was finished, I said, so you want me to spray your house or you want me to come back another day? She said, what? I said, you want me to come back another day or you want me to spray the house? She said, you're not even going to argue? I said, I didn't come here to argue. I came here to do your service. She was like, unbelievable. She started to laugh. she
It's
expects.
your response. Like her expectations were that you were going to argue back with her, and then when you didn't
Yes.
give that to her, she calmed down. Like, you just have to know how to
Yeah,
handle
she thought I was going to
situation.
start talking French.
So we do a lot of training in how to de-escalate.
So I was like, mm-hmm. You know, me and a woman's friend today.
You know what's so funny? Like, every patient that I have ever had like a run-in with,
Mhm.
like, they love me now. But again, it just depends on it's all about how you respond to them.
Mm-hmm.
So
So let me tell us about your different departments in your pharmacy.
oh wow, okay.
I know you have the pharmacy side.
So we have the pharmacy side,
Mhm.
which fills the prescriptions.
Mhm.
We have, of course, the pharmacy cashiers that check out your prescriptions.
Mhm.
Then we have a full line OTC, which is over the counter, where you can find anything from hair products, pain medication, soap, deodorant, lotion, all those things.
Mhm.
And then we have the DME department, which does the durable medical equipment. And then we have immunization. So we do every immunization that you can think of. Then we have the OTC cashiers. Then we have HR, operations, executive assistant. And then my daughter owns the juice bar that's next to the pharmacy.
Okay. Question. I use the Libre 3 Plus sensor in my arm. So if I'm a patient and I don't know or I can't put it in my arm, do you guys have that service where I could come by?
And we put it in
And
for
put
you.
it in?
Yes.
Okay.
But I know you could do it, so.
Well, I do it all the time, but I'm just asking for the public to know.
Yeah, we have patients that come in that's not comfortable with putting it on, and we put it on for them.
Okay. Yeah, I do it myself. People be like, how you do that? I'm like, clean the area and put it in. What's so difficult?
Yeah, some people just ain't comfortable with it, and we'll help them out.
Yeah, just like some people ain't comfortable injecting themselves.
Yeah, correct.
And I'm like, I don't get it. Like one guy he called this morning. He said, but how you could do that? I said, I don't see the needle.
I told somebody the other day, I was like, if we can't figure it out, it can't be done.
Yeah. So you have that service as well. That's good to know.
All right. Well, one of the things I would throw out to you, Christian, is that whenever, and I know that from time to time, organizations in the community will come to you for sponsorship for this or that and the other. Okay, tell them, make sure that their event is communicated to WSTX. We do our community calendar here. And it's not something that anybody have to pay for. I mean, we're not discouraging you from being, not you directly, but anybody, from being a sponsor here on WSTX. But we do the community calendar. We try to make sure that community-oriented events are on our calendar to talk about. All right? All the way down to if they're having a water sale on XYZ corner, it is my experience that if a week before people hear that this organization will be on that corner, it's going to have people going to drive up and just hand you money and say, I want what you got, I got.
So I will remember that for our book bag giveaway that we do every year,
Okay.
to submit that, and I'll let the sponsor.
Right.
We have a sponsorship committee. So we used to meet every month, but now we moved it this year to every 3 months to see how that works. So all the sponsorships that we get, we go through, and we actually have a committee that votes.
And let me just emphasize this. The earlier we get it, the better. Because then it means every Thursday people do tune in to find out about what's going on, and they will hear about it.
Okay.
Okay? And that's...
I like that.
Yeah, because you know what it is, people
I take
people
it
have
very
their
personal.
people have their life. They get out on Saturday, I get on the road, and I go down. You know, first of all, I don't walk with cash.
Me
So
either.
it's like if you're selling water and I want to support you, I don't have nothing to support you. But if I know that you're going to be out there and I could plan, I will work with a piece of change and here,
Right.
support the cause, that type of thing. And the adults need to understand this. And the adults need to
We don't
understand.
be the problem.
Exactly. The adults need to understand this. I remember working with a church group who was raising funds. They were going to a conference in Jamaica. And they came in here on a couple of occasions and talked about what they were doing and so forth in the car wash. And people driving up and just handing them money. I ain't got time for the car to wash. Just handing them the money. And this is what happens in a community, especially as small as this community is.
Mhm.
People will rise to the occasion and support, a cause. And that's fantastic. And I want to big up again the folks for the Girl Scouts the other day. They were down here at Gallows Bay Hardware.
I
And
keep missing them, but that's God telling me that I don't need that 1 calories.
no, I didn't take the cookies. I made a donation as though I had bought all of them.
I want the cookies.
Yeah, I know. They look good.
Yeah, man.
I have that weakness.
I mean, yeah, I love diabetic, but like, I got weakness for Girl Scouts.
Right. So what I tell my diabetic patients, it's in moderation.
Yeah.
So if you have 1 or 2 cookies, it's fine. You just can't sit on
You
it.
can't overdo it. You can't do the whole
Stop.
lot.
Stop.
No, but you see, my doctor is Dr. D. And when you go to see every 3 months, and your blood work don't look right, she'll let you have it.
Mhm.
She'll let you have it. So you better be on your best behavior.
You know, it's also a mind thing though, because once you tell your mind you can't have something, your mind wants it more.
Yeah, but I've gotten over the years. I've gotten better. I've gotten really good with managing, my diabetes, especially since the loss of my sight. Which is funny. It took the loss of my sight to to do that. But hey,
So you not taking care of your diabetes is what caused your sight to go?
yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Do you ever
I-
talk about that? I feel like people need to hear that. Because,
Yeah, I talk about it. I did a commercial for Vidco.
Okay.
Yeah, and they have it. They sometimes have it playing in their office.
I know exactly what I'm going to do with you for marketing. Because I
Yeah.
feel like I talk to my diabetes patients a lot about that. And I think because I'm saying it and it's not somebody that actually went through it,
Mhm.
like I don't know if I don't want to say that they don't care, but I don't think that they feel like that's a reality that could happen to them.
Right, because the doctor tells you, oh, just take this pill, and everything will be okay. So I was on the pills. I take the pills. I eat. I take the pills. I still partying, drinking, having a blast. I ain't caring about nothing. I just doing my thing, Then eventually, it started getting worse and worse. Then my vision started to decline. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? I couldn't drive at night, and the light was like, I would be in a room and it's like look dark, but then it's bright, but it's dark. People saying that you got light in there. I can't see no light in the room. Stuff like that. So so then by the time I got to the eye doctor, and they were like, oh, you got diabetic retinopathy.
Mm-hmm.
So then they got to do laser, they got to do this. And so they started doing laser. Then they started injecting this thing called Avastin.
Mm-hmm.
But you see what people don't know, Avastin can cause retinal detachment. Okay? I didn't know that at the time. But it make my vision come back. I could see good. And then overnight, one night, it just had a massive rupture. And that was the end of that. So it's like I went to bed one night and woke up blind.
I'm about to have you come and talk to one of my diabetic classes.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people have to hear that. Like, so they know, like, this is a reality when you don't take care of yourself.
I think
Right.
you're getting them divine messages too.
Right. So,
Like,
you
someone
know,
wants to come to St. Croix and
no, my
co-opt
A1C,
him.
no, my A1C is like 6.2. You know, when I went to the Vidco, it was 5.1. You know, so I've been keeping up on, keeping it down. My RF is like 58, they said. My kidney function, which is doctor said that's good. You know, and
I just feel sometimes we think we're invincible.
yeah, but that's the thing. I thought I was invincible because I was big, bull, strong, and young, and I wasn't feeling nothing. You know, and that's the same thing I was talking about earlier. Because when I got first diagnosed with diabetes, my sugar was over 600
Yep.
when they pricked my finger, and the doctor was stammering and
That would stress me out.
and he was like, and I looking at him and like, dude, what's wrong with you? You know?
He was worried about you.
Yeah, but I felt fine.
Right.
He was like stammering and he like, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, slow down. He's like, oh, your sugar is high. I'm like, what sugar? What the hell is that? You know?
And then, as Caribbean people, we have the mentality that ground food is healthy, and I'm like, yeah, but in moderation again, because it turns to sugar in your body.
Yeah, I see my mother was a Caribbean from Dominica.
And we go eat, and we don't eat.
Yeah, Dashin, Tanya.
That turns to sugar.
Oh, yeah.
And mango season is the worst. Them
Yeah.
patients will be like, I gonna eat this bucket of mangoes, like this, that thing is turning to sugar in your body.
I didn't even touch mango. I don't even want half. I didn't want
Right, but in our minds, we think like those things are healthy things. They're healthy, yes, but in moderation. Everything in moderation.
Yeah, but I reached a point where I'm older, and I intend to live out a long, healthy senior life. With
But
my diabetes.
do you feel like losing your vision is what pushed you to move to that? Do you think
Yeah.
if you had your vision and you still had diabetes, you would be doing the right thing?
Mean things. So. I thought it'd be lying and doing the same old things. No, because the loss of my independence was one of the worst things.
You in independent? I
No,
don't
no,
see
no.
you
What-
all over by
No, when I
yourself,
said the
what
loss
you
of
mean?
my independence, I used to drive.
Okay.
So I could walk out the house, shove my key in the ignition, turn the key, and I gone. Now if I gotta go someplace, I gotta make sure I call the bus the day before, or if the bus ain't running, I gotta use via hail or call a friend, to take me where I need to go. So that's why I said the loss of my independence.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
I don't guard my keys, okay? I don't guard my keys. I'm saying that I put it on record now.
I tell the man, right? He needed a me Jeep because I still have my driver's license.
Hey, Carl, I try to remember
And
this,
it's current.
this guy's name. He lives in St. Thomas now.
Rafi.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let me tell you a story about Rafi.
Uh-huh.
Because y'all are very similar to me.
Mhm.
So Rashidi had a bar
Uh-huh.
in St. Thomas, and I was over in St. Thomas, and Rashidi said, take Rafi home for me.
Mhm.
I said, I don't know where Rafi live, and I don't know St. Thomas like that. He said, Rafi gonna tell you where he live. I said, what you mean? So I said, okay. We jump in a car. Rafi guided me all the way to his house. I was so amazed. We were passing the fire station. Rafi was the fire station gonna be on the right. So in about this amount of feet, you're gonna make this left. You're coming up on the left, you're gonna miss it. Like, I was so amazed. I was like, you lying to we. You could see for real. In real life. And that's how I feel about Aya. Like, I
they
feel like
tell me
Aya,
that-
they're telling me a story.
They tell me that all the time, but trust me, if I got a seat, I've been driving.
I think Aya fooling we. I think
No,
Aya to
no,
be
no,
see.
no.
Listen, I was so amazed at his directions and how he knew exactly where I was at the moment of where I was.
But I know you wasn't on the bus with Tia and Malik. But every stop, they stop. Hey, Gerard, where we there? And I would tell them. And they were like,
That's so amazing.
no. You could see, man.
So do like your other senses
Hearing, smell,
activate? Like, are they
feeling. I'd call it
more-
my spidey sense. If you walk up next to me, I'd feels your presence next to me.
I noticed that when I saw you the other day by the grocery.
Uh-huh.
I was like, that's why when I walked past, I told you my name,
Uh-huh.
and you know exactly, because I passed close to here on purpose to see.
I'd feel the presence next to me.
Okay, okay.
And the funny thing was, one day I was walking up my street in Camparico, and I walk up on the left, facing the traffic. So a car was coming. So I stepped out, I shoved my cane to the right, I stepped up off of the thing. And all of a sudden I start to feel this presence of something right here. And I see, well, what the hell is this? I was like, okay. So I took my cane and I swing around to see if it hits something and it's a foot, I know it's a human or something. So when I hit the thing here, ping, I said, oh, that's a stop sign.
Oh, Lord.
But yeah, so I was like, yeah. So yeah, you pay more attention to your surroundings.
Tell about the life-saving abilities you have.
Oh Jesus. I was at his house, he lived up in New Street. So we were going up on the getting on the bypass. So his light was red, and then I heard this car coming from west heading east. But the car was like, the guy had his foot in the gas. I mean, totally like he had the foot on the floor. And I don't think he realized that the guy was coming so fast, So when the light turned green, I felt when he took his foot off the brake. I said, "Dog, don't go. Don't move." He said, "What?" I said, "Don't move." Every time I tell him that, the second time the car passed, whoosh! I said, if you had moved, we would have been in that.
Look how you saving. He could see me in KY.
No, but the car was coming so hard, and it was not letting up. Because if the car gonna slow down, you're gonna hear the You're gonna hear the car braking. You're gonna hear the sound of the car looking to stop. This car was not stopping.
Amazing.
And I was like, jeez. But I learned a lot of that, especially being in New York. Because
where you think you're going back to?
yeah. Especially downtown Manhattan, where you got like 6 lanes of highway you got across and stuff like that. And you can't mosey on across the road. One that light turn green.
And why you want to go back there? You that ain't sound like nothing you want to go back to.
I love it up there. I mean, I felt free. I mean, the bus, you have bus service like 24/7. Unlike
you want
here.
to go back to partying.
No. I don't want to go back to partying, but I want to live my life, man. I want to be able to go out to eat dinner, go to the movies, do stuff like normal people. Here, the bus guy, you're restricted. After 5 o'clock, you can't go nowhere.
Right.
On weekend, you're shut in, you're locked down, this kind of thing. So it's like for a person with a disability, the life here is like almost like, you have no life. So.
Okay, well, he's touching on something that he's describing in the context of the transportation, and it's not the transportation; it's the mindset.
Service.
The mindset of our community. The mindset of our community is that if you ain't got a car, okay, that's your problem, because anybody got a car. The idea of having a bus service, a reputable bus service, reputable in context that you could know and you could plan your day and go somewhere. And,
Or even options.
right. We had that once upon a time when Peter Pan was running the system, because it really was being run like a professional system.
Mm-hmm.
Our government is always looking for ways to cut costs, just like we had the convenience center being run by a private entity, and it had all of these bins, and it was running so well, and now the government take it over, and you could see the change, right? There's some things that government need to stay
out of. I agree with that.
You know, in that regards, and so we really need a campaign in terms of inclusivity in our community, because too much of our community don't see a Gerard as a person who like going out to jazz vespas, a person who like going to the concerts when we had them down here and on the waterfront, and likewise in Frederickstead. Our community has to see everybody in that light, and that's a struggle that we're facing. So if you have Third Friday and thing happening down on Frederickstead waterfront, you
some kind of ability to get
you
people
can
there.
yeah, you couldn't plan now. Now we have this thing VI Hill, okay, and it has opened up that avenue to them now. Yeah, they have to pay for it, but hey, nobody said it's gonna be free.
Right. But it's access to something.
Right.
Yeah.
I could go out and go to this concert and know that, you know, when I say concert done, they come in and they picking me up and we're going down the road.
And I feel like we should have these options because, and I know the taxi commission don't want it because they think they're going to mess with them, but it's two separate people that they are marketing to.
Right. Because
And
the taxi guys, the taxi operators, I can be frank, they'll rape you.
yeah, but you could even say, okay, but you can even put in the policy that the Uber or VI Hail can't pick nobody up at the airport, or they can't pick anybody up X amount of feet from the cruise port. Because I have been to Puerto Rico, for example, you can't call an Uber to get you from the airport. They can take you from the airport for the hotel, but you can't call an Uber on the airport, because in the law they said if we're gonna do Uber, they can't mess with the taxi people. And we can do the same thing. And then for me, like taxis, if I want to go out and party and drink, I can't call a taxi to come for me at 2 a.m. in the morning to take me home.
No, but you can walk a hill.
Correct.
You don't be hanging out till 2 in the morning.
If he wants to, he has the option.
If I want to,
He have the option if he wants to. I try you the line.
I don't see what I did. I
try you the line. I try you the line.
I beg. Yeah.
I just feel like we have to be visionaries, and even with like in the pharmacy world, like we don't talk to each other. Like I don't mind helping another pharmacy. Like we just had a pharmacy got bought by one of the doctor's offices, and she called and was like, can we sit down and talk? And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna give you all the information. I can't do it by myself.
There's market enough for everyone.
Correct.
That's here.
Correct.
Again, like we got 20 pharmacies and everybody on the teacher end for bankruptcy.
Correct.
We got, you know, and unfortunately, this is another part.
We have to get out of that mindset, though.
Of a mindset.
And then you know another thing with the taxi, there's no money change hand with VI Hill. Taxi you gotta have cash.
Right. That's but the law is supposed to be changing that also. But
They
nonetheless,
don't change it, but they ain't want to follow it.
right. Well, that's not enforcement.
Well,
That's
they
enforcement.
said they have to have options. So they priority gonna be cash and not.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
we having such a good thing here that
Yeah, the time creep up.
they come in here.
She
to
cut we off.
What is creep up? No, the marshal.
I have an script that is well ready.
Yeah.
We have 2 minutes.
Literally 2 minutes.
So
in that context,
if you're trying to
Thank
wrap
you
up,
guys for
Tisha.
having me. When Mr. Gerard called, I was like, I'd be honored. And that what I said? That's what I
Yeah.
said.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
all right.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
We're glad
You're
that
welcome.
you came in here and added your very special touch, your very neighborhood pharmacy touch to our show this morning, and the doors remain open.
Yeah.
And also, like I said, when you're doing those things of community service, make sure we know about the service so that we can also talk about it in a bigger sense and pick up the sponsors in the process. Okay. folks, do a random act of kindness. If you're feeling kind of bored, do some premeditated ones. You will not be called before Congress for that, okay?
And if you feel like me, just do a random act.
I'm working on it now. I say it
Hey.
has to be of kindness.
No, a random act. Because you don't know. You might do it kind, and they don't like it either way. So
But they
just do
don't
a
know-
random act.
Be
don't
good
know what
humans.
for them.
That's
Yeah.
what I said. Be good humans.
Right.
Just do a random act. They're going to love it anyway.
Okay, and with that, we're going to call it
Without-
George or Sandy or whatever it is.
We're going to call it Judge.
We're
Another.
gonna call it Keisha.
We're gonna call it.
All
We're
right.
gonna call it Keisha. You have had another full circle of reflections on WSTX AM 970. We'll see you again next week Thursday, same time, same place. Peace out.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
That was good. That hour went by quick. I was a little stressed coming here.
Yes.
Yes, I don't like the public speaking and things.
You know,
But you're
I-
natural.
I am the
You're
back.
not public
successful
I am
shy
the-
people.
I am the background person that makes things happen.
Right? Me too.
Yeah. What's your
This is
last
us.
name?
Can't-
Okay, so you're Devin's uncle. No? Devin cousin?
Devin, which Devin you talking
Really?
You missed
about?
all
You
of them
guys
except
up
that one.
Massachusetts, in Worcester, Massachusetts,
Oh,
and he's an architect.
I know
Very
he's
well.
an architect.
Yeah.
I know he's an architect.
Yeah.
Okay, he was my friend in high school. Not that kind of friend.
Okay, no.
He used to date my friend Lisa. So
Okay.
that's how I know him. Okay, I didn't know what you're doing.
Find us
So,
on
tell my girls I said hello.
I will.
And spread the word. We don't bite our faces.
WSTX
We
AM and FM. Stream
have a
all
good time.
conscious reggae, Virgin Islands, news, talk, clips,
All right.
Bay,
So
24/7,
definitely.
365.
Any other progressive persons out there that you come across,
Like us
if you're
on
interested in
Facebook
having a
and
venue
follow
where
us
they
on
can do
Twitter.
community service and
WSTX, the
discourse,
soul
we're here.
of
I will let them know. Don't knock me down.
No.
I know
Come to
it's
Prosperity
dangerous with that
Farm
stick,
Still,
right?
where farm to bottle magic comes alive. Join our
Thank you.
signature farm to bottle guided tour, a focused 55-minute
I shake the
immersion into
ladies' hand.
sustainable
She
farming
would come in here and make us look so good.
Locally grown sugarcane to
Anyway.
premium handcrafted spirits. Watch how the cane is harvested and milled, and step inside the distillery and see small batch spirits crafted from sustainable, locally grown ingredients. Then relax in the farmhouse tasting room and boutique and enjoy a full flight of all 6 of our signature handcrafted spirits, with the taste of St. Croix in every sip. Perfect for families, open air, and unforgettable. Want even more?